You know what I should do before we actually start is make sure that in 2 seconds, no people aren't going to come. Oh, concessions. Ah, there's a group in here in about 30 minutes. We'll be out of here way before that. And if not, then we recorded all that. Liz, this is awesome. What is happening? Are you looking at the camera or are you looking at me?
No, I'm looking at, I can look at, if I'm looking at you, how is it?
It's fine.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
We have
and we're definitely keeping all of this into our check-in. All right, so folks, welcome to our third check-in with my DearScout, or DearScout. I apologize. I always say it.
The website is mydearscout.com because DearScout is taken allegedly. But yes, the company is DearScout.
DearScout is the company. MyDearScout.com. That's how you get a hold of them.
Yep.
Liz Kimmelman is here with us once again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a partner of ACA New England, supporting New England camps. This is not your first time at the New England Camp Conference? Yeah. No, it's not. But what's a takeaway whenever you come out to New England and you see us New England people? What's your takeaway from this conference?
I'm back home, so I'm originally from here. So grew up in mostly Rhode Island. So shout out to
the Rhode Island camps, Bryac. Yep.
And so it's like being home. And then I was telling this to someone. So I live in Los Angeles right now. So I'm part of the SoCal Hawaii section. And we have our regional conference, which is smaller than y'all's, obviously. But we have our conference coming up in April.
SLC.
Spring Leadership Conference. I know it's far for you all, but it is in beautiful Palm Springs in April. So if you can make your way out there, I invite everyone to come out.
Here's the thing. New England's summer home for a lot of them, but a lot of them are going to be out your way. They're down in Florida. We know people in Colorado because, let's be honest, New England can be a little bit abusive with their weather. All right.
No, but what I was going to say is that our conference is much smaller than your conference, but I stepped into the general session yesterday, and the feel of your community, it feels just like our SoCal community, and it's 5 times the size, and it is so, like, you can just tell it is such a welcoming, wonderful, close-knit community of belonging, and it's wonderful. So,
well, I appreciate that, and it's actually segues perfectly into what we're here to talk about today. If you don't know more about DearScout, go to mydearscout.com. You can read the baseline stuff there. It is an employee benefit for your seasonal staff around their mental health and wellness. Full stop right there, because I want to go into part 2, which is a new phase, kind of, so to speak, for DearScout. And what you were just talking about, the vibe, I guess, or the feeling. And I always say everything here in New England is retail. It's always about relationships and, and that kind of person to person or peer to peer engagement, and how that is really kind of the foundation of what makes these associations and the camp experience so special. And you all at DearScout have expanded your offerings into something in the peer to peer world. So we've mentioned it before, but we've kind of just mentioned it. Tell us a little bit more about this peer to peer offering that you're adding to DearScout.
Yes.
Let's go down that road.
So DearScout, for as long as we've been around, so we've been around since 2018, but our main service has been individual teletherapy with clinicians, therapists that are folks that have camp experience. So that has been our bread and butter. And this year, for the first time, we are offering 24/7 peer-to-peer support through a company called Togetherall. And I am like becoming a fangirl of Togetherall. Little side note, I was introduced to Togetherall and the founder of Togetherall. It was a camp connection.
Duh. So, all good ones are.
So I have to give a shout out to Josh, who used to be over at Camp Brain. I reached out to, so he is now, I believe, with Camp Mind.
He's with Camp Mind now, yeah.
So
Josh is a popular guy.
He is a popular guy. He's a great guy.
Yes, he's a good dude. Shout out Josh.
Shout out to Josh. So he, at the time, he was with Camp Brain, and I was reaching out to him for some tech support with DearScout, and was thinking about some stuff there. And he was telling me about his longtime friend, camp friend, Maddie, who has a company called Togetherall, and said that while he couldn't help me with the particular tech thing that I needed, I should reach out to Maddie at Togetherall and toss around some ideas. And we found Togetherall, and Maddie is a longtime camp person turned mental health professional, and has he has been in and out of the employee assistance program space. And it was this wonderful connection. And we have brought Togetherall on as a component and a service through DearScout. And their main, like their thing, what they do is they provide safe, anonymous, clinician supervised, there's always clinicians watching these peer-to-peer support groups. And so what it looks like in actuality, and they have wonderful training videos, FAQs, graphics. They're really, the branding is, and that gets me as a marketing person.
Yes, same here. I'm a little bit, even the stuff that
so they have really great stuff on their website. So togetherall.com.
Togetherall.
It's also on our website at mydearscout.com. So if you look at the peer-to-peer support stuff on our website, it's already up there. You can take a look at it. They have some videos and some FAQ stuff. So it's already up. But so their main thing are these peer-to-peer support groups. And so the way that it works is you as an individual, if you're a member with us, as a staff member, you get to go in and you choose the group that your peer group, you choose that peer group. So already it's self-identified, it's anonymous. You're going in, you're not saying who you are.
Are there ways? Are they randomized, or is it are there other identifiers where it's like, yes, that's the vibe I'm looking for, the conversation?
Choose, right. So one of the first things you do is you're going to identify, just so that on the back end, the clinicians know who you are, and that also your camp has already paid for the service. Right. So you'll go in and there's some intake stuff that you'll do. You'll say, I'm like, here's my information. I'm from this camp. I'm looking for a group that is, I identify as this type of person. And then there are certain groups that you can choose to join.
Yeah, it's almost like you have a profile that then you get a set of offerings.
Exactly. Yeah. And so myself, I'm going to go on and choose to be in a group of, maybe I'm going to choose to be with business owners, of like women business owners, millennial women business owners.
There you go.
Like that's the group that I'm going to be in. Or maybe I'm really feeling like I need to make more connections with millennial moms, millennial working moms, or maybe maybe I'm going to join something that's more, something that I want to find more community in folks that are maybe more towards my religion, or maybe more that like have like I'm a cisgendered woman, so that are like, and work with my spouse, like that, those things that
the identity, it can be philosophical, it can be maybe even like business. There's a lot of different ways it can be sliced into there. Yeah.
And so for your staff, they can go on and they can say that they are like, they might be one of one at your camp.
Sure.
They might be one of 100 at your camp. You might have a boys camp and you don't have a lot of diversity on that staff, but them as an individual, they're not finding community on the staff. They love the other guys that they work with. There is nobody like the community that they work with. And it can sometimes feel really lonely to work with all your bros.
To use a sports analogy, you can be a member of a team, and then we saw a LeBron James interview recently where they're talking about, his relationship with Mike, and he's like, well, we don't have one right now. He's like, maybe when I'm done playing, it'll change, and this, that, and the other. But like, you can be part of something and you don't, and be successful.
Yes.
And have other positive attributes. But what you just talked about, there's that sense of belonging, that sense of community, that sense of being, maybe that empathy that only somebody who's been in your shoes or understands you can get.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to overwhelm the moment. But from what I'm hearing you is, we have these people who it's like, listen, 80-20, 80% of my day is great, but there's this real 20% that's kind of maybe at me, and I need to just connect with somebody else who can truly get it. Because camp directors, we love them all. Yeah. But as we've learned over time, there are these triage moments of, okay, this is beyond camp director level. This might be DearScout level.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not DearScout level. It's, we need to get this person a peer, somebody that can just get it because I can't and you can't.
it's really nice to just have someone to talk to. And I think what's really great is that you can go to this space instead of either doom scrolling on social media or dumping on social media. And those are not healthy spaces to do that. And that is what our staff is doing. That's what we're all doing. I mean, like that's just, or like
it's half the reason people come to this conference.
Right.
Talk to people.
Right. And so like you can go and talk in this space. And so a couple of things is not only is it supervised by clinicians 24/7, but there are also trained peers in those spaces too. So there's peers in those spaces that have, as you're saying, they've gone through what you're going through. And they're going through other trainings to help with those conversations in a very organic, natural way. So this is like the bread and butter of what Together All is doing. But I have to just like, again, I'm big fangirl about this. I am learning more and more about what Together All is offering. And they have these services that are just part of the program. So first off, Together All is, let me start with this, the opposite. Our therapy services, when you're a member of DearScout, you get your staff are able to access teletherapy with their counselor, their therapist with DearScout, June 1st through August 31st, a little bit after the season.
Summer season, yeah.
Together All is available from the time that they start employment for an entire year. So this is maybe the only benefit that they will get from you way past employment. This is an amazing retention tool, recruitment tool. This is a touch point that you have with them for a whole year. And it's just something that is such a nice gift for your staff. So that in and of itself is wonderful.
Keep going.
Together,
I'm processing.
Is also so built into their system on the back end. If you're a member with us, let's say you have a staff member they do the triage with us. So you have a staff member that's a little bit of a harder time. The reason those clinicians are supervising it the whole time, one, is to make sure everybody's following the community rules. They have really strong community rules and guidelines so that things are taken
you got it. This isn't fantasy football talk.
This is managed all the time. But it's also so that if things are starting to pop up that seem a little more than the community can handle, they will flag it back towards DearScout. And they will say, hey, it looks like one of your resources is a DearScout counselor. Let's get you back over to them so that we can get you paired up and get some help. So they will flag it back to that. If you are in a state, because this is offered all over the country and in Canada. So if you're in a state that doesn't have a DearScout clinician, they will then flag you to the local resources. So like, we will get you resources no matter where you are. On top of that, if there is an immediate crisis, so like someone is on there having an immediate crisis, they have 24/7 crisis support. So on everything, we say this, they say this, everybody says this. On everything, it says if you're in a crisis in that moment, call 988, text 988, text the crisis hotline. But as we're going through things, if certain crises are starting to show up, they're able to flag and utilize their emergency crisis services to get someone in the moment. If they are seeing an actual bodily harm.
Right. And we're talking about probably the exception, not the rule, but you have to be ready. We're camp people. You have to be ready for the exception.
This is something that like no one can plan for.
Correct.
Exactly. So these are some things that like I had known about going into the service that I'm super stoked about. Things that I'm just learning about now, they have tools on there that create immediate self-help and mental health support like toolkits for folks that you can build out yourself individually. There's self-assessments. There's that like build out toolkits for yourself of like, try these tools the next time you're feeling X, Y, and Z. There's like all these assessment tools that you can do for yourself in all different ways, right? So like maybe you're not the kind of person that wants to do a whole like really detailed intake form. It's like little smiley faces or whatever.
I love it.
It's a
Sounds like a very inclusive onboarding.
Right? So it's like different personality quiz. It's like maybe you want to just do a check-in daily. It'll ping you for a check-in daily. There's journaling options. Online journaling options have become this really there's a lot of data on this really beneficial process that for staff members, again, we want to keep the bar really, really low. That if you can go on and you can just dump somewhere and then look back on it, and it's in a space that you can see trends over time, and you have the technology to do this paired with mental health resources, it's doing the work for you. You don't have to do this by yourself anymore. And like that's the key. It's out there. I'm so excited.
And so and we got to land this plane here shortly because we're at the New England Camp Conference. Thank you so much, DearScout, for coming. Always for being a partner. But the biggest takeaway for me, I used to be the head counselor, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade boys of an overnight camp. All I ever wanted them to do. And if you're at the New England Camp Conference, thanks for coming. But Bob Ditter gave a keynote address, and he gave an anecdote about a young man who was going through something in his cabin. And the real crux of it was, he thought his cabin mates would razz him for it, and his cabin mates already knew, but they didn't want to talk about it because they thought that they were going to hurt his feelings. And Bob was like, I think you just need to talk to them. I think you just need to tell them. And at the end of the summer, the boy comes running up to him. He's like, I told him. And the look on his face retelling this story, I'm thinking about young men, specifically young men, because that's where my heart was. It's okay to speak. And honestly, if you have something like this might be what they need to just be like, hey, I'm going through this seemingly shameful, embarrassing, horrifyingly awful moment. And then 20 other people are like, yeah, man, been there. I just felt like a weight drop thinking about that. So the fact that DearScout has taken this, first of all, this moment and really capitalized in saying, if we're going to be camp people serious about wellness and mental health in our space, let's get serious about our staff. I love it. I'm not saying it's exclusive, but that's why I love it. Then you're taking it that next step of, and what if we can try to encourage them to continue the work that we start in the summer one-on-one? So if people want to talk more about this or learn more about this, one more time, where do they go for you, or how can they get in touch?
Yes. So we are at mydearscout.com. You can email me at liz@mydearscout.com. And one final thing that I will say too is that I think a lot of folks are sometimes thinking like, no, we're all set. We have a clinician on site. And one thing that I've been talking with folks on is that I think especially with this component of Together All, and then the support and the resources we have with our head clinician, Molly Carl, we can form together a kind of like a separate resource. This is something that I was talking a little bit with some camps with. So they have a clinician on staff. There's some things that sometimes we talk to folks about, but they have a good relationship with this clinician. With using the peer-to-peer support and the administrative resources that DearScout has, plus the clinical resources that we have, we can make this an even more impactful experience, just like you're talking about, to be able to not just make this a Band-Aid in the summer with the clinician that you have or whatever mental health resources you have in the summer, but to actually make this, like Bob was talking about at the conference, to actually ingrain these character traits in them, to take it with them for life. This is how we do this. We give them year-round support, and we can do that with DearScout and with Together All. So we can talk to you about that and craft that for you. So
I like it. It's taking a yes and approach. Yes. And thank you once more. We will see you again soon. Thanks for coming to the conference. Thanks for being partners. We love DearScout. They love camps.
We love being here.
We need good people in camping.
Yes.
So thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
All right. We could probably talk for an hour and a half about, because my brain was going into places on